So let's start with some basics first. Now the whole idea of time value of money is that we know that the value of money changes with time. For example, let us say you have 100 rupees with you today. With 100 rupees, let's say you can buy yourself maybe your morning breakfast. But will you agree that 5 years down the line that 100 rupees would be able to buy less? Yes or no? 10 years down the line that 100 rupees would buy even lesser. Make sense? So with time, the value of money changes, and that's what we are looking at, time value of money. So let's say you go to a bank today and you deposit $100. So this is the amount that you're going to deposit today. Then you ask your bank, what is the interest rate? What is the interest rate that I would get to earn on this deposit? Bank says 3% per annum. Okay, so this is your interest rate. And what is the period for which you're going to invest this money? So let us say that is 1 year. So this is the time period for which money gets invested. How much amount will bank give us back after 1 year? It will be 103. So after 1 year, we will receive 103. So in finance, this amount that you deposit today, we call this as present value. So any amount that exists with you at time 0 is your present value. This would be referred to as interest, or at times we use the word yield. This is the time period for which you are going to invest. So we are going to call this as N, and then this amount is referred to as future value. Now the calculator that you have, I want you to look at the third row of the calculator. The third row of Texas Instrument BA2 Plus calculator. Yes, which is the first button there? N. So that N must be the period or number of years, which is the second button. I/Y. So that I/Y must have been interest/yield. Third button. थोड़ा आवाज बढ़ा तो यार मतलब ना. Third button, present value. So this is your present value. Fourth button, PMT, right? Do we have PMT anywhere right now? So initially we will not touch that button, but of course as we increase the level of difficulty, it will start making sense. And which is next one? It is future value. Now here we have 4 variables. If you have any 3 variables, you can always calculate the 4th one. Are we together on this? So the way I want you to do this is, on your calculator, first press second button. Second button is in the second row, first button, slightly grayish button. Are you able to spot it? Now the second button you're going to press only once, so that you would see a small second activated at the top. Do you see a small second at the top of the screen? Yes or no? Yes. So what you've done is, this second button is some sort of a function button on your keyboard. So when you press second, all the second keys get activated. Is that making sense? Then I want you to press clear TVM. Tell me, where is that? Clear TVM is? It's above future value. Right? So the idea of doing this is, when you do second clear TVM, you have deleted what was previously saved in the memory slot of your calculator. Are you following what I'm trying to say? So this third row, TVM row, by itself has memory function. So before you start using it, it is important that you always make sure you do second clear TVM. Now have 100 on your screen. Please have 100 on the screen. Do you have it? Then press present value. Okay, so it will show present value is equal to 100. Then have 3 on the screen. Then have 3 on the screen. Then press I/Y button. So it will show I/Y is equal to 3. Then have 1 on the screen. Press 1 and press N. And then you would say compute Where is the compute button? The first button. And compute future value. It will give you answer as 103. So do not worry about the minus sign for the time being, but what we know is that 100 rupees or $100 in 1 year's time will become how much? 103. Is that okay? So I want you to try a couple of them. In fact, let me build a nice table here. So we have present value, we have N, we have IY, we have future value. Present value 100, 1000, 7250, N is 3, N is 4, N is 5, this is 2%, 8%, 15%. This is 1000, this is 2000, and this is 10. Find out these. So I want you to find out the missing figures in this table. Can we have the first answer? 10.12. Second answer? 1360.4. Okay. Third one? 145.82. Okay. And this one? 7.1%. How many of you were able to solve the first question? Okay. So those of you who did not, I'm going to do the keys with you. Please do this with me. First thing that you do is press a second. Press second, then press clear TVM. So that's your starting point. Second, clear TVM. Second, clear TVM. Have you done that? Now 100 present value, 100 present value, 3 is N, 2 is IY, compute future value. Is it showing minus 106.12? Yes, no? Yes, people at the back, did you get the answer? आपका भी आ रहा है? ठीक है. Now let's do the next one. Second clear TVM. Second clear TVM. 1000 present value. 1000 present value. 4 is N. 8 is IY. Compute future value. How much is that? How much? 1360. Third one, second clear TVM, 7250 present value, second clear TVM, 7250 present value, 5N, 15 IY, compute future value. Okay. Now the last one is a little tricky, so try to understand this carefully. The idea is, if you go to a bank and if you make a deposit today, okay, so if you make a deposit in a bank today, then after 10 years, you would withdraw 2000. Or if you take a loan today, then after 10 years, you will have to deposit 2000. So your calculator does not know whether you're taking a loan or you're making a deposit. Are you following what I'm saying? But what your calculator knows is, irrespective what you're doing, the signs have to be opposite of each other. Which means if your present value is positive, then your future value has to be negative to tell your calculator you're working in the opposite direction. So the way we do this, let's do it together. Second clear TVM. Second clear TVM. 1000 present value. 10N, then have 2000 on the screen. Have 2000 on the screen. Now in the last row, do you see a plus minus button? So use that button to make 2000 negative. Okay, you cannot make it negative using the minus button. You will have to use plus minus button. then make it as future value, and then compute IY, it will give you 7%. If you keep both present value and future value of the same sign, you will get error 5. And if you get error 5 on the exams, then you know that you've committed a logical mistake. Is that okay? Yes, no? Okay. Now what if we have to solve the same questions using a formula? Okay, so the formula is future value is equal to present value into 1 plus whatever is your interest rate raised to n. So we can see if this works. We will say 100 into 1 plus 2%, and it should be raised to, come on, it should be raised to 3. Let's see if this works. On your calculator, say 1 plus 2%. So you'll get 1.02. Just your calculator can do it directly. Say 1 plus 2 percentage equal to. Is it getting you 1.02? Yes? No? Yes. So what is 1.02? It is this term. So we have to have a power of 3. So use y raised to x button. Do you see y raised to x? Y raised to x button. So press y raised to x, then press 3 and then say equal to 1.0612. Is it? Now multiply that with 100 and you would get 106.12. Is that okay? Yeah. So have 1.02 on the screen. I'm repeating this again. Have 1.02 on the screen. Then y raised to x. Then 3 equal to multiplied by 100. Is that okay? Now second concept. Are you writing these examples along with me? It's important that you write so that when you revise it becomes easier. Okay, next concept is compounding. You have learnt it, but we kind of make sure we do it explicitly. Let us say that you invest $100 today at the rate of 5% for 1 year. So by the end of year 1, how much money will you have? If you invest 100 at the rate of 5% for 1 year, you will have 105. Now you decided to invest this amount for 1 more year. So when you invest the same amount for 1 more year, now your investment value is 105. At the rate of 5%, how much will you receive? 110.25. So see, now what happened is, in the first year, interest that you earn, that was $5. But in the second year, interest that you have earned is how much? It is 5.25. Have you earned more interest? And why is that? Because you earned 5% on the previous 5 as well, right? So this in finance is referred to as compounding. So the longer time period you invest, automatically you would see that compounding effect will magnify your returns. Now this can be done on your calculator. Please try that. Second clear TVM. You tell me. 100 should be present value. Then n should be 2. 5 would be your IY. And then we will say compute future value. Are you getting the answer? Or alternatively, we can use a formula. 100 into 1 plus 5% raised to 2, and it will give you the same answer, 110.25. Are we together on this? Any questions, any doubts? Are we good to go ahead then? So in the sessions today, throughout the level 1, we would be using a LOS approach. Okay, so the way it works, is your syllabus at level 1 is divided into 18 study sessions. Study session is a cluster of 2 or 3 topics together, and then within those study sessions there are roughly about 65 odd readings. So one reading is one topic, and these readings are further divided into learning outcome statements. Okay. So the way we would be doing it in the class, every session will have 2 parts. The first 50% of the part, we will just look at the big picture. So we will try to understand the concept behind the topic. And then in the second part, we will go to these learning outcome statements one by one, and we'll make sure that we answer them. So first learning outcome says, interpret interest rates as required rate of return, discount rates, and opportunity cost. Okay, so let's see if we can understand this concept properly. So let us say you have $100,000 with you. Okay. There are 2 possible things that you can do with them. Either you can make a fixed deposit into a bank, or alternatively you can invest that into a business. Are we okay? Now, if you make fixed deposit into a bank, then you can easily expect to earn, I'm just making up a number, let's say 5% per annum. Are we alright here? But you decided that instead you will invest that into a business. So if you put that money into your business, how much will you expect to earn every year? 5% or more or less? More. Why? Because the risk is higher. So when you put that money into business, you will expect to earn 5% plus some additional risk premium. Correct? And that risk premium is a function of how risky your business model is. So more risky would be higher risk premium. So let us say this number comes out to be about 11%. Okay. So this 11% in finance is referred to as required rate of return. Required rate of return. And then how do you interpret this? You would say that this is the minimum that I should earn to justify this business. This is the minimum that's required. So when I'm doing this business, I should earn at least 11% or maybe more. And this 5% is similar to the opportunity cost of that business model. At minimum, you're earning 5%, so that is your opportunity cost. And then there's a word which is called discount rate. So this is a generic terminology referred for interest rate in all scenarios. Which means a discount rate is nothing but interest rate, and it's kind of a generic term. We would be using it in almost any possible scenario. So I would be using this term interchangeably. If I want to say opportunity cost, I might as well say discount rate. If I want to say required rate of return, I might as well say discount rate. It's a generic term. If you cannot read what I have written, you can ask me. I'm used to it. Have you understood opportunity cost completely? Yes? Okay, so what is your opportunity cost of this morning session today? So 2 hours of good early morning sleep. So this is opportunity cost. Or for example, let us say that you were working somewhere, you were earning a salary of, let's say, ₹1,000,000 per year. You decided that you will quit your job and start doing a business. Then opportunity cost of that entrepreneur would be ₹1,000,000. Are you following this? Opportunity cost is the next best option cost. So that's your opportunity cost. And we would be using this term extensively throughout your CFA program, level 1, level 2, and level 3. Required rate of return, we will be using this mostly in the context of equity investments. For example, if you have some money and you decide to buy shares of, let us say, Apple Corporation or Tesla Motors. So when you buy these shares, you would expect to earn a minimum return, which is a function of riskiness of these companies. Do you agree with what I'm saying? So what is at minimum that I should earn from my investments? Those would be referred to as required rate of returns. And discount rate is more of a generic term. We would be using it in all the scenarios. Are we good to go ahead?